Hiya all my Ali Pallies. Well, it's noisy here at Ali M's parlour today because Jack's talking online with his friends. But, you know, I can't get out with him because I'm just very immobile. So I'm cutting him some slack. So I am going to do this tutorial, but I'm going to do it on silent and I'll do a voiceover later explaining what I'm doing. So I'm just going to explain the introduction and then you will have peace and quiet, unlike me. Now, I'm going to be doing a request that Lucy asked for, which is to do a 70s or 80s blue eyeshadow look. Now, I'm not going to do a 70s blue eyeshadow look. Oh, and it was using the James Charles palette. I'm not going to do 70s because in the 70s, they basically put shimmery blue eyeshadow over their entire lid all the way up to the top. And if you watch my hooded eyes tutorial, that just ain't going to suit me. And in fact, it didn't suit many people in the 70s. But I am going to do an 80s version of a blue eyeshadow, and actually one that I remember doing quite a bit myself. And I may actually, I'm going to see, I'm just remembering the way that I used to apply it, which I'll tell you about as I'm doing it, but I don't think I will apply it that way now because I don't think my lids will forgive me applying it that way anymore. I was in my teens back then and my lids are a lot less firm, so I'll do it my way, but I will actually do the same makeup. So I hope you enjoy this look, and if you've got any other requests, do let me know because I always like to do requests. And enjoy. Okay, so nice peace and quiet here this morning. So first I'm going in with my Huda Overachiever concealer, and I'm putting that all over the lid to prime my eyelids. This is in shade 14N, Cookie Dough. Now, there's a couple of reasons, as I said before, that it's very important that you prime your lids well. And this is quite good for doing that because it's very sticky. It's very light magic away. These eyeshadows are very dry, so they're going to accentuate crepiness. So you need something moisturising underneath. Also, they're very pigmented and they will stain your lids. And I found that they stained my lids after I took this off. So it's really important that you do this and get a nice decent layer on at the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to set that with the first eyeshadow that you saw me using the other day to set my eyelids. And I'm going to put that all over. So make sure that you put plenty on, because when you start going in with the colours, you do not want them to start dragging because they'll be difficult to blend. So make sure you're generous. Now, I did say in the introduction that I wasn't going to put it on, this eyeshadow, in the way that I did as a teenager. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to go for it and see what happens. The only difference with the application is that I didn't used to put this on with a brush. I put it on with one of those, remember the sponge applicators that came in every single eyeshadow palette you bought until a few years ago? Well, that's what I used to apply it with. So hang on to your seats, girls. All right, this is it. Now, I'm first of all going in with the purple. It's so incredibly easy to do this though. So I'm literally going to do a semicircle in the socket of my eye with the purple, like that. Don't worry about blending it, just put it in a line so that it can be seen in a semicircle. And yes, I'm not blending it. And next we're going on to the next shade, which is a slightly pinkier purple. And I'm going to put that right above it, so it's like it's a rainbow. Do you remember the 80s? So in to have kind of rainbow eyes. So I'm going to put that. And don't worry, the blue is on its way. This isn't a purple look. It's a blue look. So that is the next shade. Then I'm going on with this bright cerise. and that's going to go above. So it's kind of a bright cerise transition shade. Yes, a transition shade in bright cerise. That was the 80s. So again, just another line on top of that colour that you put there. And just make sure it's all even. And then, just to blend it out, I'm going to use this light pink to kind of blend it out back to nothing. And I'm putting that over the top in another line, cleaning my brush as I go, obviously. All right, so you now have your rainbow. And now I'm going to take a brush and blend away. And I think in the 80s what I did is I blended it with the little sponge applicator, or I may have had a brush. I think I might have had a brush for blending, but certainly not for application. I just used the little applicator. So you'll see this is so easy to do. You just put on all the eyeshadows, bung it on, and then the only bit that you need to work for a little bit is the blending at this stage. But they all blend together beautifully. Just do your windscreen wiper, and you're not going to merge them too much into one another, but just blend them so you've got a bit of a rainbow. And now here's where the blue comes in. And oh no, it doesn't. Sorry, I made a mistake. Next, because I want the purple to be really intensified at the bottom, I go back in with that purple and the pencil brush. And this time I'm going to smudge that line with the pencil brush, because we want that to look really deep. It's going to look like a sunset, a kind of purple sunset, okay? So you're smudging that now with, I'm holding the skin tight and smudging it with the pencil brush so that it doesn't disperse too much, and you've got strong purple right at the bottom of your purple rainbow. Cool, eh? What did we do to ourselves in the 80s? All right, now we're going in, I'm sure, with the blue. Yeah, here it is. Same blue I used the other day. And I'm going to use my fingers. Best tool there is for shimmery shades on the lid. And I'm going to put that onto the mobile lid. Whoa! Okay, I'm putting that all over the mobile lid. Now, I didn't have to cover the hood of my lids in the 80s. I did have hooded lids, but they weren't that severe. So it goes all the way across. And actually, it doesn't look too bad. So I'll put that all the way across like that. Can you see the smile? My cheeky grin. Okay, and then next I'm going in with the next shade, which is this lovely blue. And this is a matte shade. And I'm going to put that in the corner there and kind of gradually merge it together. And I think probably in my teens, I used to put this each side, whereas today I'm just putting it at the outer corner. But I think I probably did it each side in my teens. I can't remember. I think so. All right. And then I've got my pencil brush. Now what am I doing now? Oh, that's right. So I'm taking that cobalt blue, or the second one that I've just used, and I'm taking that under my eye, because of course blue eyeliner was the big thing in the 80s, especially with Lady Diana. I'm not going to take it all the way across. I think that's probably where I've kind of adjusted this to make it more for my age. Before I would have taken it all the way across. So that is the blue eyeliner. And then we are moving on to the navy blue. Now, with the navy blue, I'm going to line my upper lid with the navy blue. Now, when I went and did this, again, I found it wasn't applying very well. I was using a kind of stiff stamping brush, but it doesn't really apply very well until you wet it. But the good thing about this palette is there's so much shadow in each of the shades that I don't mind dipping a wet brush into the shadows, and it works a lot better. So if you look at this right now, and I kind of gave up and said it's not working, there you go. And so I got my MAC Fix Plus. This is Daniel's smudger brush, by the way, again, and I wet the brush, and you watch the difference now in terms of making myself a nice, very pigmented navy blue eyeliner. It makes a huge difference. So definitely, if you're using these, they're quite good to use as eyeliners, but you will have to wet the brush because they just won't apply as an eyeliner unless you do. So I'm just stamping that underneath. Now, of course, when I was in my teens, I didn't stamp it underneath. Again, I would have just got the tip of one of those foam applicators and just swiped it all the way across, probably in one go because I didn't have crepey lids. But hey, let's not look back to what my eyes were like. And then I'm taking a little bit underneath and drawing it up into a tiny little flick there. Oh, all right. And now I'm going to highlight. So I've actually gone away to do the other eyeshadow, as you will see. I'm looking very 80s now, and I'm using this. Now, I got a bit frustrated because this eyeshadow was not shimmery enough, and if you remember, in the 80s we definitely had shimmery brows. They weren't just tucked right underneath the brow bone. You literally used it to blend out the top of your eyeshadow. But this wasn't really shimmery enough, because we definitely went in for shimmery eyebrows in the 80s. So I did try another colour, the pink underneath, but it didn't really make any difference. So I kind of gave up with that. But really, if you're doing an 80s look, you want shimmery brows. They look so shimmery, they almost look like you had a pair of brows walking towards you. And there isn't anything in this palette that's light and shimmery enough, unless the golds are too dark. So there isn't any lighter shimmery shade enough to do that. So I just made it really white. Okay, and then I'm going in with my faux whites in blue. Now, I do remember, obviously not the faux white, but I do remember using a lot of white eyeliner in the 80s. Definitely, it was definitely in, as was white mascara. We didn't have mascara primer, but I remember getting white mascara so that I could put it on loads of coats and it would show up coloured mascara. So that inspired me next to get out my eyelash primer by L'Oreal Paradise, because it is white. It's not as white as the white mascara I used to use, but it's definitely white. And so it will show up coloured mascara. Hint, hint, spoiler alert. Okay, and so I'm making sure that I get a nice thick coating of this on both sides of my lashes and underneath, so that it's not just about it looking thick, but it's about whitening it so that the colour shows up on my dark eyelashes. And that was the thing, I used to get so frustrated because coloured mascaras were really in, and things like aqua, really cool colours, and they just never showed up unless I put white mascara on first. So yeah, I used to walk around with aqua lashes. It was crazy. Okay, and now I'm using the YSL Volume Effect Bright Blue mascara, because it was definitely there. New Romantic Era. As if the blue eyeshadow wasn't enough, we had to actually have coloured mascara. And I had a purple mascara, as I remember. I loved the aqua one. There was an aqua coloured one, really bright, just like this one, but it was aqua. It was really, I just loved it. I look ridiculous, of course, but I loved it. And now I'm doing my lipstick. So again, there was no, oh, well, let's go for a peach lipstick, because I've just put something really colourful on my eyes. It was, oh, right, now we want some nice vibrant cerise. So I'm using a MAC lip liner. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put it in the description bar. Charlotte doesn't do a cerise lip liner. Now, the thing with the matte one, you'll probably see I was struggling a bit because they're quite hard. They're a lot harder than Charlotte's. But anyway, and I'm, of course, filling it in to get the colour going. And then, of course, the colour that came to me, I've got quite a few MAC cerises and pinks as well, but the colour that came to me was Charlotte Tilbury Velvet Underground. And this is from her look, Glamour Muse, which was very much inspired by the 70s and 80s, that kind of blue eyeshadow, cerise lipstick look, purple eyeshadow. So it very much fitted in, and I'm saying goodbye to you all. So I hope you've really enjoyed this blue eyeshadow tutorial. Very much 80s, not 70s, as I said. But I had such fun doing it. And there you are. You can see it did come off pretty swiftly afterwards, because I thought if I answered the door, if my other half came in, he would have thought that I'd gone a bit crazy. But there you go. Kajagoogoo Bananarama 80s-o-tastic. Thanks for watching, and see you all very soon. Love you all, my Ali Pallies.